The 2022 NHL draft has come and gone, and the Montreal Canadiens did well for themselves. Here are some takeaways and other things from this year's draft weekend. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. So the first thing I'll take away from this draft is that the management team of Jeff Gordon, Kent Hughes, Vinny Lecavalier, etc., delivered on everything they said about what they wanted to accomplish with this draft. Getting faster, getting bigger, getting more skilled. Almost every pick, the trade for Doc, the work behind the scenes, they did as promised. And on initial review, they did a bang-up job. Slavkovsky, Owen Beck, Lane Hudson, Vincenz Rohrer all look to have big potential to be the real deal, but only time will tell. So why did Shane Wright fall to the fourth pick? So it's not easy to find a solid answer to this. From what I can gather from everything I've read so far, I think it came down to ceiling. Wright's ceiling was projected to be lower than the three picks ahead of him. Simple as that. Wright equaled higher floor, lower ceiling, or less risk, less reward, but a safe bet, but a good safe bet, right? Slavkovsky, Nemec, and Cooley equaled lower floor, higher ceiling, or higher risk, higher reward. Montreal, New Jersey, and Arizona found more value in going for the fences or swinging for the fences than just betting, getting on base safely. It's a strategy that could backfire badly, or it could also work out like magic. I'm pulling for the latter, even though I was a Shane Wright hopeful. So it was kind of like close but no cigar for Wright, and a roll of the dice for Uri Slavkovsky. We'll have to see how it works out. So far, so good in the development camp. Slavkovsky looks really good out there. How close was the decision between Slavkovsky and Shane? So according to European scouting director Nick Bobrov, the decision came down to Thursday morning. They were still deliberating, that's the word, on who to pick. And here's what Nick Bobrov had to say about that. We were still deliberating on Thursday, so the decision was obviously not an easy one. There are several great players in that area and from different positions, so the debates were still ongoing. In the end, it's not what the other kids didn't do, it's what Uri managed to do and what he's done on big stages and how he handled himself on some of the biggest stages in the world. For that age, that was extremely special. So I have two reasons. I'm going to give the second one first and the first one second, and it might sound weird, but here we go. They had a meeting with Slav that had been scheduled a few days earlier, but had been canceled for what reason, I don't know. Something Slav said again in the second meeting cemented their decision to go with the big winger, apparently. He was asked what he loves most about hockey. His answer was being on the ice when his team is up 4-3 or down 4-3. So he wants to always be a difference maker. He wants the puck as much as he can get it, and be the guy that wins the game, and that's what he's all about. Stepping up in the big moment and being the guy that gets all the cheers and wins the game. Another reason, and the timeline is iffy on this, but another reason that I think this happened, Hughes had been negotiating with Chicago to acquire Dak, from what he said, for about 2 or 3 weeks. When they were able to acquire that 13th overall pick from New York Islanders for Romanov and the 66th pick, they were then able to complete the Chicago deal by sending the 13th pick and 98th pick to Chicago in exchange for Dak. At that point, the decision became a lot easier to make, in my opinion. But that's the question. When did they make the deal? When was it complete so that they knew they were getting Dak and then they could make Slavkovsky? From what I can get, it sounds to me like they got Dak. That whole they made the deals before they were announced, and they made the deals before they made the first pick for Slavkovsky, and therefore they were able to pick Slavkovsky over Wright because why are you picking? Why are you trading for Dak and then picking Wright? Doesn't make sense. So it all depends on kind of the timeline. Drafting Wright became redundant at that point, and since Slav and Wright were neck and neck, the decision became simple. I think draft Slavkovsky, potential Grand Slam home run with Slavkovsky. I'm going to say that I was a Shane Wright guy, but there's a potential Grand Slam home run with Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky, can't even say it because his ceiling is higher than Wright's. And if he really hits everything, it's going to be pretty awesome. And we've got Kirby Doc, which is no slouch. Slavkovsky by the numbers. Here's the first one. So that's the head, from the article. So the first number I'm going to mention is 60. And that's the number that the big Slovak is going to wear. And if you watched any of the highlights or actually watched the development camp, you'll see he's wearing number 60. Jose Theodore was the last number 60 that I remember. Let me know in the comment section if he's not the last number 60, but he's the last one I remember. So here's the his stuff by the numbers. Slavkovsky joins Ray-Jean Houle, Guy Lafleur, Doug Wickenheiser, and Michel Plasse in the Canadiens' first overall club. They forgot, I think, Jerry Monahan was in there, so there's 6. He's the 6th first overall pick. 52, as a 16-year-old, he scored 22 goals, 30 assists in 39 games while playing for HCTPS under 18 SM Sarya. That's a long name. The following season, so this 13 is the next one. The following season, Slavkovsky was 17, played in the under 20 team. He scored 8 goals and added 5 assists in 18 games. 18, Slavkovsky produced over a point per game in the same league this season with 6 goals and 12 assists in just 11 games. 11, but I think that number is wrong. That should be 10. He earned yet another promotion in 2021-22, playing with TPS men's team, Liga, at 18 years old, scoring 5 goals and 5 assists in 31 games. That's why I said it should be number 10 for the 5 goals, 5 assists. 7, as has been the case throughout his career, he quickly improved his scoring rate. Not only did TPS win the league's silver medal, but Slavkovsky also produced 2 goals and 7 assists in 18 games. 9, he was named to Slovakia's World Championship team, where his talent shone particularly bright. He finished the 8-game tournament with 3 goals and 6 assists. That's 9 points. Again, 9, he also played in the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, where he scored 3 goals and 6 assists in 5 games, helping Slovakia win a silver medal in the process. 7, his play at the 2022 Olympic Games was eye-opening, as he led the entire tournament in scoring with 7 goals in 7 games, including 2 game-winning goals. Thanks to his impressive play, Slovakia earned a bronze medal. And in addition to winning a bronze medal, Slavkovsky was named to the tournament's all-star team. He was also named the most valuable player. I don't think drafting Slavkovsky will be seen as a reach like KK was, or maybe even Galchenyuk, although Galchenyuk wasn't a reach. He was legitimately should have been a top pick. So there you go. Next up is Habs, 4th pick overall. Not overall in the tournament. My words are getting away from me in the draft. So I think it was the end of the second round, so a late second round pick. Defenseman Lane Hudson, and we're going to talk about his bone age. Defenseman Lane Hudson isn't small. He's just older than his bones. So here's what's up with that. Reported by TSN. You brought a report from an endocrinologist to the scouting combine to show teams. What did it say? Hudson, it's about my bone age. It's delayed a year. My bone age is 17 and my biological age is 18, so I have room to grow. This isn't the size I'm going to be in a year. How much more can you grow? Hudson, based on what the sheet says, I think I have 2 or more years to grow, and I think I can get 2 or 3 inches out of it. That's what she said. So it's got to be why Hudson dropped to to the end of the second round, because I'm quite sure he was ranked higher than that. He's an uber talented offensive defenseman. And if he does grow 2 or 3 more inches, he'll legit be one of the steals in this draft. So go check out his highlights there. A bunch of highlights on YouTube you can check out. The Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar comparisons kind of seem legit when you watch those highlights. So Lane Hudson should grow, should add at least a couple of inches to that frame of his. And if that's the case, I think Lane Hudson might be seen as a steal in this draft. So let me know what you think in the comment section about that. GM Kent Hughes turns defenseman Alex Romanov into number 2 center Kirby Dach. So now I've already gone over how they acquired Dach earlier in this video. So let me say this about that. This could turn out to be the biggest and best move of the draft by Hughes. Dach is entering his D+4 season, is far along in his development, was a 3rd overall pick, and has the potential to have a higher ceiling than Wright had. His acquisition speeds up the rebuild, and he strengthens and solidifies the position of center and strengthens your team down the middle. For 8 years, at least, I think, but they'll re-sign him. I think they're going to re-sign him to a bridge contract. He's an RFA right now. They're going to have to re-sign him very soon. I kind of feel that it'll be a bridge contract of 2, maybe 3 years, and then they'll, if all's good, they'll sign him to that 8-year deal. I don't think they have the room now to sign him to a big 8 number. I don't think he's going to want to sign into a long-term contract at a small number. That's what I think. So he is an RFA at the moment that I am writing this. If Dach reaches his potential and Slav is just a solid top 6 winger, Ray, stop barking. So Slav hits all his goals, and no, Dach hits all his goals. Slav, just a solid top 6 winger. In the end, after a couple of years, this will still be seen as a successful draft, even if Wright reaches his ceiling. So the Dach deal, in my opinion, should insulate Gorton and Hughes from too much pushback from the fans and the hockey critics if Slav isn't all that he's hoped to be. So I think a brilliant move if it works, and it will work. Here's Kirby Dach by the numbers. So Kirby Dach by the numbers. Number 3. Kirby Dach is a 3rd overall selection by Chicago in 2019 when he was picked behind Jack Hughes and Capo Caco. Dach has racked up 59 points in 154 career NHL games to date, in addition to picking up another 6 points in 9 postseason tilts. I got ahead of myself. 6'4", standing 6'4", the imposing centerman immediately became the tallest player on the Canadiens roster when he was traded from the Hawks on Thursday night. And they did all the stats on Slavkovsky at camp or at development camp. He's 6'3", 227. That's his official numbers for Slavkovsky. Let's get back to Dach. The Fort Saskatchewan native earned gold as a member of Team Canada's roster for the Linka Gretzky Cup in 2018. He has represented Canada on 2 other occasions as a member of the 2018 Under-17 and again as a member of the 2021 World Juniors teams. Did Shane Wright really give the stare of hate at the Habs draft table when he was drafted 4th? So this is a story. It's kind of a tale of 2 slants. One is clickbaity, and that's this guy here. It's kind of a clickbaity. It's not true. I don't think some of this is cherry-picked info to fit his narrative. That's Marco D'Amico. Now, I follow this guy on Twitter, and I think he follows back, and I'm a little surprised at the slant here. And the other is accurate. It was done by the Sportsnet staff. And you can see Wright kind of does not have a bad attitude. So I'm going to read what the first article kind of said here. Shane Wright was none too happy about being selected not being selected first overall by the Montreal Canadiens. The projected number one pick in the 2022 NHL draft took a bit of a slide down the ranks to fourth overall after the Montreal Canadiens opted to select Juraj Slafkovsky at first overall. There was going to be a debate right until the end as to whom should have gone first overall, but not many expected this. When the New Jersey Devils and Arizona Coyotes chose Simon Nemec and Logan Cooley respectively, there was an air of shock in the Bell Center. And you could see Shane Wright seething in his seat as Logan Cooley was called down to the stage. When Wright was finally selected fourth overall by the Seattle Kraken, he seemingly stared down the Montreal Canadiens table, which is situated at the very front of the draft floor. Wright later admitted that he was upset and would have a serious chip on his shoulder moving forward due to the perceived snub. Yeah, I'll have a chip on my shoulder for sure, said Wright when asked how he felt about sliding to fourth overall. Now, like I said, that's kind of not an accurate portrayal of what happened. So this is what happened according to Shane Wright. He said, not at all. I was just kind of looking at the cameras in front of me. Wright explained to Jamie Campbell on Blue Jays Central ahead of a game between the Mariners and Toronto Blue Jays. To be honest, I don't really remember too much going on up on stage. It was just kind of a whirlwind for me. So I wasn't intentionally trying to stare anyone down. I guess maybe it looked like that from the video, but there was no intent to stare them down. Just kind of look at the camera, and their table was right behind it. So I guess it kind of looked like it, but there's no intent behind that. I mean, obviously, this was he said later about the thing. I mean, obviously, you picture that in your mind. You picture your name being called first and walking up to the stage, pulling on that jersey, especially with the draft being in Montreal and then picking first. I'm definitely going to have a chip on my shoulder from this for sure. Definitely a little more motivation. I've always been self-motivated, always been pushing myself internally, but it's definitely going to give me a little more fire for sure. I think this might be from a different article, but it's about this exact thing. Just tried to stay as calm and cool as possible, Wright said, of his buzzing mind through the picks 1 through 3. I got drafted to the NHL. I think that I achieved that lifelong goal of mine. I achieved that dream of being drafted to an amazing team in Seattle, Wright said. I was drafted by a team with a lot of potential into a great city with a great fan base. And obviously you want to go first, but I couldn't be happier being in Seattle. Couldn't be happier with being a Kraken and really excited about the future ahead in Seattle. To me, that sounds like a kid that might have been upset, but's got his shit under, control and understood the process and might be disappointed, but I mean, he understood what was going on and is adjusted and now looking forward to Seattle. Doesn't sound like in that first article where he got a chip on his shoulder, it wasn't really what it was. So there were later some comments attributed to Wright that weren't very nice about Montreal, and they're all fake. None of that's true. This is what's true. He adjusted. He's handling it well. And yeah, he'll be motivated a little bit more to be a little bit better. And especially when they play Montreal, every time he plays Montreal, he'll step up a little bit more than likely. But I think at the end of his career, he might even go and say thanks to Montreal for giving me that extra motivation to reach my full potential. Because that's the kind of motivation that a guy can take and use to reach his full potential and not just miss it by a little bit. So, yeah, I think I don't think there's much to it. He's an 18-year-old kid. He took a huge emotional blow in a very public setting, like a deer caught in the headlights. And I think he recovered well and sounds like he fully understands the situation and has adjusted. So, yeah. So don't believe everything you read on that. Will Montreal trade Jake Allen? There's a ton of Jake Allen rumors out there, or there's some. And when will they trade Jeff Petrie? And what might be holding that up? So all this and more right here. It's on your hands. So here's the stuff about Jake Allen that's kind of going around. Jake Allen drawing significant trade interest. Kevin Weeks, keep an eye on Canadiens veteran Jake Allen, still drawing significant interest in the market. Edmonton Oilers, Buffalo Sabres are among those said clubs. So there's that. And apparently a lot of the rumors are stemming from Kevin Weeks, from what I can gather. There's not really a lot that you would think if they're talking about it. The rumors about Allen have been pretty intense since the draft started, with multiple teams showing interest, such as the Washington Capitals, who traded their young goalie Vitek Vanacek before the draft, Toronto Maple Leafs, who are in the market for a goalie after trading Peter Mrazek to Chicago Blackhawks, and the Edmonton Oilers, who are without a goaltender after Mikko Koskinen signed in Europe and Mike Smith potentially going on long-term injured reserve, are interested as well. Allen is well-liked in Montreal. His cost will be very high, especially with the Habs goaltending situation. It is unknown if Carey Price will be able to play, and the Canadiens don't have anyone in their system who could step up and take over as a starter. With a few contending teams still needing help in net and with very few options left on the market, it makes sense that interest has recently heated up on Jake Allen. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Edmonton Oilers, and Washington Capitals need goalies for next season, but there are not many to go around. Darcy Kemper and Jack Campbell will surely fill two of those voids as free agents, but someone is going to have to trade for a goalie. It will be interesting to see if the Canadiens get an offer that makes them move on Allen. If Montreal trades Jake Allen and Carey Price isn't 100% at the start of the season, Montreal will be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Not a good place to be, even for a rebuilding team. Who will be Sam Montembeault's tandem partner with such a thin list of other options? And don't say Caden Primo. He's not ready yet. And I wouldn't want him to be ruined by Montreal's lack of goaltending options. To get Allen, it'll take an overpayment, like at least a first-round pick next draft, and maybe more if Hughes can get a bidding war going. In acquiring Kirby Dach for Alex Romanov, Hughes likely sped up the team's rebuild by a season or two. But by trading Allen now, in my opinion, you push that gain back all the way. Hughes has shown patience already to get the most out of any trades, and I think he'll do the same with Jake Allen. Knock his socks off with an offer, or I think Hughes hangs on to Allen, and I could even see them re-signing him to another short-term deal, possibly at the end of next season, or move him at the next trade deadline. It doesn't make sense for them to trade Jake Allen away unless you can't say no to the offer because of the uncertainty with Carey Price, and nobody but Caden Primo really to seemingly be able to step in there and help out. So I don't like that, and I hope they don't do that. On the Jeff Petrie front, multiple teams have been tied to the Jeff Petrie sweepstakes, like the Dallas Stars, Philadelphia Flyers, and Detroit Red Wings. Detroit would be the best fit for Petrie because he's from Michigan, and his family seems to want to live in the United States. Hughes is a GM who seems only to make moves if he needs to, not just to make one. He won't take any deal to get rid of Petrie, and just any deal, and will look for the right trade to make. Petrie will bring a good return, especially with the improved second half of the season and his 4-year run of 40 or more points. If they can move his entire salary, it will free up $6.25 in cap space and give Hughes more freedom to sign restricted free agents and other players in free agency. I think it's a similar situation. If Hughes can't get what he wants for Petrie, then it'll be a no-go on moving the big defenseman. I don't think the same leverage is there, though, as with Allen. The team is posturing a bit, I think. It's an either-or with Petrie, but I think they are a little on the desperate side to move out Petrie's money and make cap space available. They might act like they're not, but I kind of think they are. He'll move when the right offer hits Hughes' desk. But I think they just don't want to admit that they're in a bit of a desperate situation to get his money out. Okay, I hope you liked this video. Give a thumbs up if you did. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. That's it. Stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. And hey, check out the video that popped up over there. And that's it. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Ciao.